All right. Good evening, everyone in Facebook land. This is Rob the Warrior Strategist coming at you from sunny San Diego, and finally just kind of mellowing out after a very long day. Had an amazing time going to the gym today. Went to the dollar store, bought some vegetables, and then just doing client work. Had an amazing day connecting with people and doing work for a new client. And let me tell you, some days you finish up and you feel unbelievably accomplished. And this is one of those days. I'm just like in awe how much I got done today as far as the connections. Had a lot of conversations, and we are getting a guest tonight. It's very rare for me to interview somebody else, but tonight we're doing it. Very special reason why, and you guys will find out. Just stay tuned. You do not want to miss this. Before we get started, going through all the stuff we're going to talk about, let's give a shout out to my sponsor, Master Blaster Coffee. Blessed in the success, Master Blaster Coffee started by EOD, Explosive Ordnance Disposal Veterans. Good to the blast drop. All right. I've been enjoying it every single morning. It's been incredible. Check it out, masterblastercoffee.us if you want a strong cup, and you'll enjoy it. It's pretty good. All right. So lately, getting ready to pop out the new issue of Shift Advanced Life Design magazine. And there is still time for you to appear with your business in Shift magazine, whether it's a feature or an ad. Feel free to reach out to me. As we all know, my client Ted Fox started off with a feature in Shift, noticed an immediate uptick in website visits. And then we just started a path that got stupid. Ted got a radio interview. He got multiple calls to his shop. He got record-breaking web traffic, engagement, likes, followers, all that good stuff at Scooter's Garage in Lancaster, Texas. But it all started with Shift Magazine. So I highly encourage you guys, if you want more traffic going to your website, if you want more visibility, more Google presence, reach out. Let's set up an appointment so we can talk about getting you into Shift Magazine, highlighting top performers, and I will write up an incredible layout that you'll be proud of. You can show everybody in your world, and it will drive traffic to your website. Proven time and time again. It's power of Shift Magazine, shift into something better. If you're checking this out, feel free to drop a comment. Tell me who you are. Tell me what's going on. And I will shout you out if I know you. And tonight, should be having a guest pop on any minute now. And this story is unfreaking believable. I'm super excited. This is a new client to the Warrior Strategist portfolio. And when I heard his story, I almost peed a little. I was pretty excited. Because I love working with people that it's so much easier doing what I do when the person's got some ridiculous story. And this person has one of the most ridiculous stories I've ever heard, like in an amazing way. So that is coming up very soon. And a big happy birthday to Trish Leto, old friend of mine from back in the day. Trish, what's going on? Good to wish you a happy birthday. Thank you for all you've done in my life and for being a good friend and for everything you've done for everyone around you. It's good to see you celebrating a birthday and wishing you an amazing birthday. Hopefully going out, doing something fun with the family. Trish has always been a very loyal friend. An amazing person, brilliantly smart, and just a character. First time I saw her, I think she was in Vet Tribe. She's posted a picture of her drinking wine, talking about being a mom. It was just really funny. And I was like, I need to know her. She's pretty cool. and it's always been a great friendship. Got to meet her once in person in Florida. It's a good time. Trisha's unbelievable. All right. Let's see what else is going on right now. Like I said, getting ready to create the next issue of Shift. So we're putting together our layouts, articles, press releases, stuff like that. Tomorrow, I'm going to start letting you guys know about a training I was a part of that Tom Antion, a digital marketer and multimillionaire for quite a while, put together. Tom interviewed me, and I taught Reddit as a business strategy, because a lot of people know how to use Facebook, they know how to use LinkedIn, they know how to use Instagram, but very few people actually know how to use Reddit as a traffic driver and a lead generation device. And I gave a great training talking about how I wrote a post that got 97,000 views in under 2 weeks, the advantages of Reddit over other social media platforms, and then some ideas for getting your inbound messages into sales and leads. So that was a great time. Had a couple of business calls today. It was just a very long, drawn-out day. I had a business call, maybe the longest one I've ever had. It lasted 2 hours. And thank God the guy I was talking to was super engaging, because I have a very short attention span, and he kept it going. And our guest just showed up, so let's bring him on. And we welcome Dr. Tony Brooks. Tony, how are comms, sir?
They seem to be very clear. Can you hear me?
Yes, your comms are good. This is not Afghanistan. I can hear you very clearly, sir.
Very good. So I don't need to scream from the mountaintops.
Roger that. Do you have camera ability?
I am trying to get that to work. I do. It's on my phone. It's just being a little problematic.
There we go.
There we go.
All right. So I have not told them a single thing about you.
Perfect.
All I did was title this, "My guest has a shocking military background," because I like to surprise people. I like the element of the magician pulling away, the curtain, and then just letting people know. So let's start off. You came into my orbit. We started talking, and then at first you're just like, "Yeah, I'm a chiropractor in Texas." I'm like, "Okay, yeah, that's cool." And you said you're a vet, and I'm like, "All right, cool. That's that's something I can work with on a publicity level. Like I can drive some traffic to you and get some people. Have you done anything else, Tony?" And then you just let fly with the craziest reveal ever. It stopped me in my tracks, and it definitely changed the direction that we've been operating in. So let me give some background real quick. So today, for example, once I developed your media angle, Tony, how many interviews did you secure today?
I think it was 8, maybe 9. Yeah, it was pretty good. So I love that intro, by the way, because no one still knows what I've done or what I did. So everyone's heard of the Space Force, right? Yeah, everyone's heard of the Space Force. So I was the Space Force before it existed. I was the first door gunner for a space shuttle. No, that's actually not true at all. No, I actually was I was an infantryman, an airborne ranger, and my claim to fame is that on my first mission, knowing nothing, I knew nothing. I was like the lowest guy on the totem pole. I just did what I was told. But as an Army Ranger, my first mission was the rescue operation for Marcus Luttrell in Afghanistan. So I had no idea what I was getting into. I had no idea how big it was going to end up being. Just that guy doing my job, just like everybody else. But come to find out years later, a movie comes out. And I'm like, what the heck? This looks so familiar. Why does this look so familiar? And it was so familiar is because I was there. And I didn't know the movie was coming out. It took years for that to come out. And really, most of us just went about our business. We didn't even think it was a big deal. So that's me. Now I'm a chiropractor in Conroe, Texas. And I just like helping people find their way to health. It's freaking awesome.
So, first of all, Mark Wahlberg should have played you. That's that's the ultimate testament to a warrior is when Mark Wahlberg plays you in a movie. So just saying.
Well, he wouldn't have played me because I was not the ultimate warrior like like some of the guys I served with. That's for sure.
Yeah, yeah. So fun fact: you are actually the second badass turned chiropractor that I've interviewed, and I don't know what it is, man, but the second issue of my magazine, Shift Magazine, I reached out to a gentleman named Dr. Howard Wasden, and I'd read about him, and he was an author.
Yeah.
And it turns out Dr. Wasden was a SEAL Team 6 sniper in Mogadishu. And this guy gave me an amazing interview with photos I'd never seen before. It was really well done. It was like 12, 14 pages of content. One of my favorite interviews I've ever done. His book was unbelievable. He had an abusive stepfather in Georgia, just had a real rough childhood. And the first thing he noticed was when he got the BUDS training, the biggest, most athletic jocks that had known success their entire life were the first ones that quit. And that was his first like real observation about life and about failure and about, mental fortitude. So I guess my first question to you, how long do I have you for, Tony?
I think we got 20 more minutes. Yeah.
Yeah.
20.
Okay. I just don't want to keep you if you got important stuff to do, securing the perimeter, lighting flares, whatever you guys do. So my first question, I guess, are you a Ranger School graduate or are you a Scrolled Ranger?
So I was in the 75th Ranger Regiment, and
Okay.
I did 2 deployments with them, and I also went to Ranger School. So to be a leader in the 75th Ranger Regiment, you have to go to Ranger School and pass. And to stay in the unit, you have to do that. So usually as a E3, you've been there 6 months to a year, you have to earn your spot to go to Ranger School. And after Afghanistan, I earned my spot and headed to Ranger School to starve for a few months.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, or maybe civilians even, Ranger School is an unbelievable 3-month-ish trek into hell. You lose about 20% of your body weight on average. There's parachuting, there's multiple phases, there's mountain climbing, and then a jungle phase. I don't even know why I'm saying this, not asking you the fucking questions. I've done a lot of research on this and interviewed a lot of guys. But I'm just trying to paint a picture here so people really understand like how difficult it is. And you are expected, every person that goes to Ranger School is expected to hold a leadership position on several different missions, and they can get peered out. So that means if you're a piece of shit and the other guys you're with don't think you're a good leader, at the end they can do evals and actually get kicked out of the program. Is that all accurate, Tony?
That is all accurate. Yeah, it is a leadership school. So your whole purpose of the school is to learn how to lead troops under massive amounts of stress, and they accomplish that by starving you and not letting you sleep and putting you in as much physical stress as they possibly can. So the fun part about it is when you become a leader in that school, no one under you in the school wants to do anything you say because they are tired and they are hungry and they don't care if you pass.
Yeah.
They really don't. So your job is to convince them that they should care.
Yeah, I've read about a lot of Ranger tricks, the Tabasco and coffee, eating coffee grounds, Tabasco in the eyes.
Done it all.
All this different stuff just to get going another day. There was a really good documentary on one of the channels, and then there was a series called Surviving the Cut, which I have the DVDs of. That's unbelievable, and they just show the misery of it, and they show like they put the guys through like a 12-mile hike. There's a guy just bleeding, and he's got his little night scope on his ruck, and the colonel comes out and says, congratulations guys on your 12-mile ruck, now Ranger School gets hard, and the guy's expression, it looks like he's just broken.
and he was 100% correct, because all that's right at the very beginning.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it does get a lot harder.
it's to cut, 30 to 60 people immediately to just find out who actually wants to be there. So it's just an unbelievable testament, man. It's an honor to have you on, to interview you. So I guess the next question would be, you went on this mission. How many guys were with you for the rescue mission?
It was 2 platoons, or actually probably 2.5 platoons worth of Rangers. So a total of, gosh, it was probably around 60 of us total.
Was it a joint operation, Air Force, CCT, SEALs, everybody?
Correct. So my platoon had a CCT and 2 PJs attached because we were primary search and recovery for the downed Chinook helicopter. So we had those guys with us. We were basically their security. Their job is that's their job, right? They do search and rescue. They know how to dismantle aircraft. They know how to recover personnel. And we just went along and took orders, basically. But those guys are incredible. I don't know if you've interviewed any of those guys, but PJs and CCT, they are something else, and they don't get enough credit, in my opinion.
I really appreciate you saying that. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm conventional Air Force. I've never been a trigger puller or anything crazy like that. I'm proud of my service, but there are differences in training for sure. I have done exercises with CCTs, and I think I've met like one PJ, but you're right. For those of you who don't know, PJ is pararescue and CCT is combat controller. And they go through the same pipeline that the SEALs do. So they go through a lot of the same training. They go through some of the specialized schools, but combat controller in the Air Force is a fully qualified air traffic controller. And so what they do is they set up airfields in austere conditions so the aircraft can land. The combat controller motto is first there. So they will be like the first person that enters a hostile zone and does all the surveillance. They get all the cool toys like the black like quads and submachine guns and shit, and they learn how to free fall and parachute and all this stuff. CCTs have a crazy like 2-year pipeline just to get through the school. The attrition rate's like 90%. But when you meet an Air Force CCT, they've done some shit. And then PJs are just known as the top search and rescue in the world out of all the branches of service. I think PJs are the highest trained. They were featured in A Perfect Storm. I had a couple of Air Force PJs in there, and basically they're trained to rescue anyone and any geographical location in the earth. So
yeah, people don't know that PJs, not only in wartime environments, but in peacetime, they are very busy. Like they have a full-time rescue operation that they run straight out of Alaska. They're constantly doing rescues up there. So, yeah, they're studs.
Yeah. When I went through tech school, we had a group of PJs. Like this was like their first school, and there were a group of PJs. They were always running around in shorts. They always had a telephone pole that they were carrying, and they always looked they were starting to get drowned already, drown-proofed. So they're already starting to look a little crazy. And they have an expression called meeting the wizard. And that means that they see somebody at the bottom of the fucking pool. So yeah, PJs are an odd bunch, but God bless them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they taught us a lot, especially on our search and recovery mission. So it was nice having them around, that's for sure.
Yeah. It's a lot of people don't know the Air Force has special ops, and they have they have TAC-Ps as well, like forward air controllers. One of my buddies in the Facebook group is Gerald Searfoss, and he was a TAC-P. His ribbon rack actually is crooked because there's so many fucking ribbons from all his deployments. And he's like an E4, legit badass, and just a great dude on the East Coast. And he started what's it called, Black Ops Barbecue. So he started his own barbecue sauce company, and he had a great clothing company for a hot minute. But yeah, I love interviewing these guys just to find out like the mindset and learn about what keeps them going. So you're in this rescue mission, and you already know what happened previously. In a couple like Anaconda and a few of the other missions where they just touched down, immediately took fire. Was any of that going through your head?
Oh yeah, instantly when we got the mission that came down to us, my squad leader looked at us and said, you guys know what's going to happen, right? Like, we're going to get on the ground and it's going to be hell on earth. We're going to be fighting our way to our boys, and we're going to be fighting our way out. So we were well aware of the history, and especially like Takargar and Roberts Ridge, because that was Rangers, that was Air Force PJs, and that was Navy SEALs. So same group of guys. And we thought it was 2.0 coming, is what we really thought. So
Yeah.
in my head, I'm thinking, wow, so my first combat mission is going to be pretty insane. And I was ready. I mean, I'll be honest, I had the complex, like I think most spec ops guys do when they first start out, is that we can't lose. And it's a good thing to have, but is it real? No, it's manufactured, but it definitely helps us get through it.
Yeah, I remember one of the things I read about for Takar Gore. So they set down, the Chinooks set down, started taking fire immediately,
Mm-hmm.
and the guys weren't really ready for it. They thought they were just going to come in. They're looking for Neil Roberts, the Navy SEAL that fell out of the back of the Chinook. And I remember one of the guys stood up and said, "Man, I feel like a Ranger today," and he was shot dead in 15 seconds. And I remember reading that and just being horrified. I was just like, "My God," he didn't even make it out of the helicopter. And so all the guys are packed in there and they're just taking fire because there was an anti-aircraft gun, like full machine gun, like up on the ridge, just raining fire on them. A couple of bad guys just shooting at the copter, and they had to set up a defensive perimeter. And they're downhill, so that's obviously a disadvantage. And they're in inclement weather, like I think they were up to their waist in snow or some shit. Like it was just a
Yeah.
horrible tactical position. But then again, they had to get their guy.
Yep.
Did you guys come under fire in the mission?
We didn't come under direct fire. So when we were coming in, knowing exactly what happened at Takar Gar, we did what's called an offset infill. So we were not going to land near the crash site. We were not going to even go close to it. So they dropped us miles away in a horrible terrain, because they said, well, they're not going to expect us to land here. So we're going to put our guys in the worst possible terrain. And we did a fast rope. So we did not land the aircraft. We had about 100-foot rope that we slid down. And let me tell you, I've done a lot of fast ropes. The longest one I think I ever did before that and after that was 40 feet. That day, it was anywhere from 90 to 100. And when you're going down 90 to 100 feet and you can't see below you, because that's what it was, the conditions, it was completely pitch black. It was foggy. It was rainy. It feels like you're on that rope forever. And you don't want to be suspended in the air in a combat zone. It's like the worst place to be.
Can you feel the heat in your gloves just from friction from that long?
Yeah, they were burning. In fact,
Yeah.
I was thinking in my head, if this keeps going, I'm gonna have to let go, because it's getting too hot. And a lot of guys did let go, actually. Thankfully, they didn't let go from too high. One guy actually broke his arm on the infill.
Yeah.
What we believe happened is that he let go, and then someone on the guy above him actually landed on top of his arm, snapped it into compound fracture. And they said, "Hey, you're gonna have to suck it up. We're not doing any evacs, so you got to just deal with it." So he walked around with a compound fracture, and that was our radio operator.
Who stood out in that mission? Who are you proud of?
Gosh, so many people. I'd say literally everybody that I was in and around. I mean, I can't tell you how many times in my head I was thinking, I can't take another step. I can't go any further. I'm done. Like my body is quitting. And I looked to my right and my left and never failed. I'd look over there and they looked like they were on a summer stroll at a beach and nothing was hurting them. And so instantly what that does to your psyche is like, all right, well, I'm not going to be the weakest one. So here we go. We keep going.
Yeah.
And it's the funny part is doing my book is I go back and interview all these guys. Right. And every one of them said, man, every time I was take a few steps and I'm like, I don't think I can go any further. And they would look to their right and left and be like, well, they're all still going. So I'm going to keep going.
Yeah.
So everybody was feeling the same thing, but no one would admit it. But I mean, I'd say the people that I'm most proud of were my leaders, and the reason I'm most proud of them is because being the inexperienced new guy, like I don't know how any human could have done what we did without the proper leadership. I think if they would have shown weakness, that the whole thing would have fallen apart. And that's a good life lesson in general, is that if the leaders are breaking down or they're showing weakness, everyone around them is going to do the same.
Yeah.
So I've taken that forever. I mean, I think that's one of the best things I ever learned, and I'm still proud of those guys to this day. In fact, my platoon sergeant, he may or may not watch this, I don't know, but he retired out of the military, and I still look at him as like another dad. Like, because at 21, 22 years old, he put me through hell and kept me alive and gave me confidence to do my job.
I think that's always interesting when you serve with people that are at different generations. You know, I'm still I'm an Air Force Master Sergeant in the 701st Combat Squadron, and I know that the mentorship I got from much older veterans really helped me out. One particular, Lieutenant Colonel Tom Ty, um, he was like a second dad to me. I never had a dad growing up, and I left home at 18. I was very independent. I had a bad family. And when I joined the reserves, Tom was a Mustang, so he was prior enlisted, and he took me under his wing, and he just groomed me to be this strong senior NCO. And he taught me about leadership. He taught me about fairness. He taught me about how to treat people and when to be firm and when to be a disciplinarian and when to be a friend. And it's just, you need those relationships. You need those
Yeah.
people, and the military is great for that. You're going to meet some of the best people in your life. You're going to meet some other people that maybe aren't the best, but
I've got stories about that too.
yeah, it's especially in the Ranger Regiment. I'm sure there's some probably some hellraisers, but yeah, I think it's a great testament to our veterans, just the quality of people that you'll serve with, and that you'll have these bonds and these relationships for the rest of your life. Tom came to San Diego from like Wyoming a while back, and we hadn't seen each other for like 10 years, and we got Mediterranean food, and it's cool to just catch up. But very grateful for everything he's brought into my life. I'm a better man because of knowing him. And, you know, I'm sure you got a few people, Tony, that are in your life that you served with, that you're just like, I hope I know this person for the rest of my life. Like they're just
Yeah.
indelibly etched into my psyche.
Even the guys I don't talk to often, we still have this very strong connection. If I called any one of them that I haven't talked to in 5-10 years, it would be like we didn't miss a beat, because of those shared experiences and the mentorship and all that they brought. So I 100% agree.
I think that the bond between combat vets is far more intense too, because you guys all go into a situation, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if you're going to one of your friends' funerals, you know, down the road. And I feel like the intensity, the band of brothers effect, you know, is especially prevalent in combat vets. They just, because they go through such shared trauma together, and then they get home and they just try and forget, to be honest, about the shit they've seen or done. So that's why I have so much respect for guys and girls that go outside the wire and you know, write that check for America and hope everything is okay. You know, the stories I've heard, I can't repeat some of them because they're just so crazy, and they're so horrific. But it just makes me realize how important it is to support our vets and to, you know, to be there for them when they need us.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head with that. And it's funny you mentioned that, because a good buddy of mine just came out with a documentary a couple days ago, and it's on Amazon, and it's called Ranger. Excellent job. And I did all my deployments with him, and he was, you know, he was a leader for me. He was one of those mentors, and seeing this documentary just made me realize how much pain he went through. And it was powerful because I was right there with him, and yet he was having, you know, he was having internal struggles. Everyone was having struggles. Combat sucks. Combat isn't like video games, right? So um, there are things you like about it. Like you love the teamwork, you love winning, you you love the adrenaline rush, but at the end of the day, most of those guys, me included, you say, would you do it again? And we're going to give you a long pause. And we're going to, most of us, me included, I would say, no, I wouldn't. I would not choose to go to combat if I had the choice. No, I wouldn't give it up for a heart. I wouldn't give any of that up. None of it. The relationships, the experience, but I would not put myself through it again. If that makes any sense to anybody.
Yeah. My military experience shaped my life, and it got me out of a very bad place, and it gave me the stability I needed after, a crazy childhood, failing out of high school, failing out 2 colleges. And the Air Force literally gave me the only stability I've ever known. And so that's why I chose to go back and serve as a reservist. So you joined the Army. Did you join straight out of high school?
No, actually, I went off to college and floundered and partied and didn't know what to do with my life, to be honest. I actually, well, let's go back. So my first month in college, 9/11 happened.
Mm.
And I knew at that moment that I should not be there. Like, this is not for me. I should be doing something different. And ultimately, I floundered that whole first year and took my dad's advice to finish out my first year of college before I joined the military. And as soon as I finished, I was ready to go. Like I think I went back for my second semester. I was there for a few weeks and I said, nope, I can't keep doing this. Like I don't fit in here. This is not me. And there I was. Next thing I know, signing that contract to become a Ranger.
So Tony, did you go in with a Ranger qualification contract, or why'd you pick the Army specifically?
It was a kind of a chain of events. One, Pat Tillman.
Oh, fuck yeah.
So much respect. And I was so proud. I was in Arizona. So I was at the University of Arizona. He was from ASU, right up the road. So in Arizona, he was a legend, right? He was a legend everywhere, but there it was particular strong. And Black Hawk Down came out a month after 9/11. So I had all these things like telling me where to go. Like, you're going to be a Ranger.
Question for you. How accurate was Black Hawk Down?
From what I know, I know guys that were there. My chaplain actually was Chaplain Strucker, who was one of the main characters in that movie. Yeah, he was there. And he said, honestly, that was really damn close. Wow. He said, the only thing that's different is I'm not bleeding. Yeah, so I would say it's very accurate. A lot of the stuff they did, they used real Rangers.
Yeah.
Like for all the fast rope scenes, those were actual Rangers coming out of normal military birds. So
yeah, it's I remember that if you buy the DVD, because I like DVDs, I'm old. They had a.
Can you explain what a DVD is, please, for the younger crowd?
Throw my drink in your face, Tony.
Yeah.
They put the actors actually through like a modified 2-week boot camp, and they put them through the ringer to give them an idea of, hey, this is who you're portraying. Don't fuck this up. And it's good for them. I think it's great when they actually make actors kind of get a small taste of boot camp. Get them up early, like get them out of the trailer, get them exercising, scream at them, just treat them like fucking garbage, so they understand what a single day in a fucking infantryman's life is like.
Yep.
I love Black Hawk Down for so many reasons. I mean, just it's such a compelling American story, and it really is just a historical moment for America. It's one of our last conflicts that we had that was so unique, and so many stories of heroism and sacrifice. So let's fast forward. You get out. You went back to Washington. Walk me through that, and then the move to Texas.
Yeah, so I got out of the military, and I had grown up a lot, obviously, with combat tours and seeing what we saw. And I was like, okay, I think it's time for me to go back to college. I've always been an academic, so going back just made sense. And I knew I needed that as the next stepping stone. So I applied for all the schools that I applied for when I got out of high school that I got into. I reapplied to them all. Most of them said, no, thank you. True. They said, you've been out of school too long, so we need you to go back to junior college to prove yourself. Well, that really pissed me off.
I think you proved yourself, Tony.
I'm like, really? Do you know what you're saying to me? Like, I don't need to prove anything anymore. Just let me go to school and shut up. So, long story short, I had to go to junior college. So I went to junior college for 1 year. I got a 4.0. I killed it. Like, I was running that campus. And I reapplied to the schools again, and they all said yes. So they kept to their word, but I ultimately ended up going to USC in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
I dragged my girlfriend at the time, who was the unicorn in the book, if you read it, and dragged her to LA with me and asked her to marry me when we were down there. Got my degree at USC in biology. And once again, I hit that crossroads. What am I going to do? Am I going to be a doctor? I knew I wanted to help people. Ultimately, I knew that. Initial plan was med school. Well, that didn't quite pan out because I actually, in the process of doing all that, I had this horrible, awful back pain, like horrible, to the point where I went to surgeons and multiple PTs, and they all basically told me the same thing. You need surgery. You just got to have spinal fusion and it'll all be good. When I was 25 or 24 years old, I'm like, yeah, I don't think that's for me. I'm a little young to be doing that surgery. My wife, or my girlfriend at the time, said, you need to go to my chiropractor. Well, growing up in my house, chiropractors were quacks. They're not real doctors. You don't go to chiropractors. So that's what I said. I repeated it. I repeated what I heard. Yeah. And ultimately, she convinced me that you got to go at least try. Like, why? She said, why do you believe that? And I didn't have an answer. I really did. And I just said, well, they don't go to med school. She's like, yeah, well, they go to a different school that's for chiropractic. I'm like, okay, fair. And everything I said, she had an objection and she had an answer.
Yeah.
And so I said, okay, I'll give him a shot. And lo and behold, that quack helped me. And I kind of looked at myself in the mirror and said, man, what if I would have had surgery? That would have been different. So I had that moment where I'm like, I don't think I want to be a medical doctor. Much as I love and respect them, I think I'm going to go be a chiropractor. I think that sounds really fun. I'm going to help people avoid surgery. And that's when my path started. And I became a chiropractor, moved back to Washington because that's where my wife was from, opened a clinic out there in Redmond, Washington, right outside of Microsoft. And we were there up until 2022, so last year. And I sold that clinic and moved to Texas last year. I now have a clinic in Conroe, Texas, which is outside of Houston.
Yeah.
Freedom Chiropractic, and I think you can see it on my shirt.
Yep. Yes, sir.
Loving everything about it here. It's an amazing place.
I did some time in Texas, Air Force basic trainings in San Antonio. My first tech school was also in San Antonio, and then my second one was Wichita Falls. And I loved.
I'm sorry.
I loved the people in Texas. I ended up stationed at Shreveport at Barstow Air Force Base, so I was a couple hours from Dallas, but we would go into Texas to go skateboard or go clubbing or whatever. I've gotten to the point now, Tony, where I know so many veterans, business owners, and entrepreneurs in Texas. I'm literally going to print out a map of Texas and connect you guys. I made a matrix today of like 10 names. And so we're going to veer real quick into the visibility strategy now. Because you've gotten to this place, you have this established practice, you got your website up, you hung your shingle out, you're doing the chiropractic stuff. But you said, Rob, nobody knows me here. That's the biggest problem, is getting people in the door.
Yeah.
And you came to the right guy.
Yeah.
Because my magical powers can work almost in any city on earth. I could service people in Europe if I needed to, just with the stuff I've learned. And so What we're going to do for you specifically is a local celebrity strategy. And everything we do, all the actions, all have a purpose. And so today, I mean, it wasn't really planned, but it just happened.
I didn't know you were going to do this today, by the way.
Dude, I didn't either. I went to the gym today, and then I went to the dollar store because I needed to get outside. I needed to be creative. I needed to like work out, get a little exercise, blood flowing, be outside driving around, because that's when I have my most creative ideas. And I come home and I just start reaching out to people, and Tony, it just got fucking stupid. Like I wrote you, it just, every single person is like, yes, in a heartbeat. Yes, I will give that guy an interview. Yeah. Oh yeah, I want to talk to him. My boss loved the idea. He got back to me immediately. Brett Davis. He's excited, so he's going to interview you. James Torres, an Air Force veteran. He got Jason Miller involved. So they both have podcasts, so they're going to interview you. Linda Gross, who LA radio host, she loved it, and she interviewed a Green Beret center, Chris McPhee, who's also Texas. So anyway, we set up about 8 interviews today. And what's exciting about this, I mean, not only is it good for your Google searches because it's going to increase your SEO, but it's going to get you in front of a bunch of people. But what I love about this is I haven't even started with the local media yet. I haven't even reached out to Houston yet because we do this in sequence. And so for people that work with me, I map out the strategy. I start off with an article or a press release, and then I go to the regular media with this in hand. So because reporters like to skim, they're getting hundreds of requests a day for interviews. And so if I can send them a press release or like an article or something that's already prepared, they're gonna have a much higher chance of saying yes. And then just for shits and giggles, I reached out to Jocko today and Joe Rogan. Shot in the dark.
Guys. Who are those guys? Do you know them? Can we explain who they are?
So yeah, Jocko Willink fought in Ramadi, very famous Navy SEAL. He was featured on the Tim Ferriss podcast, and then he's also been on Joe Rogan a few times, I think.
So fun fact, Jocko was my ground force commander when I was in the Battle of Ramadi for my second deployment.
Wait, so you were in Ramadi?
Yeah, that was my second deployment, Battle of Ramadi.
Wow. You just sprung the surprise on me and the audience all at the same time. That's incredible. My good friend Marshall Terran, who runs Vetpreneur Tribe, he was in Ramadi, at the worst time, like 2005, 2006.
Yeah, that was my time, 2006 and 2007.
Yeah, combat Marine, great guy. Wow, Tony,
that place, let me tell you, that was a different place. That was far different than my experience in Afghanistan. Afghanistan, actually, I didn't see, other than Operation Red Wings 2, that was the only thing I did. Like, it was mostly a training deployment. And then I get to Ramadi and it was nonstop. Yeah.
I've Air Force guy, I've just read the books and, watched some documentaries, but it was pretty crazy. Like just the battles, what's his name? Chris Kyle, just going out there and kicking ass for America and just all this different shit. So where was it going? So anyway,
your strategies.
The strategies. So if I get this press release and this article out, and then I get these pitches out, it's going to be a pretty easy win. I'm positive I can get you on Houston News. If I can't get you on Houston News, then I'll start looking at other big cities. You saw last week, like I did this for Ted Fox, but these are all like Dallas, Austin, Houston, San Antonio, Fort Worth. So what I do in my world, I Google the top 10 most populated cities in Texas, and then I make this insane chart, and then I write down the call signs because every single city has NBC, Fox, ABC, CBS, and then probably some large newspaper. And I'll just reach out to them with a press release for immediate distribution. My stuff goes out in waves. So the first wave is just the press release push because a lot of journalists are lazy, or if they're not lazy, they're just trying to be fast at their job, and they'll grab a press release verbatim and make that into an article. And I'm finding out some of this shit myself. It's fascinating. And so if we do that, a week goes by, we hear nothing. Then I personally reach out to them and I find them on Twitter and I'm just like, hey, would you like a story about this? And I give them the bait, and then they're going to say, fuck yes. And then you're going to be on TV.
Yeah. So the interesting thing is I actually live in the same area that Marcus Luttrell's from. So we're both in the same city. It's the fact that I ended up here is bizarre, but it is what it is.
Have you talked to him after the mission?
I have not.
Okay. Did you get to see him during the mission? Like, did you actually see the rescue?
No, I was on a different part of the mountain when he was actually found.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. The next thing we do is going to be the military media. So I'll reach out to Stripes reporters. I'll reach out to Army Times. And you know, I can't make any guarantees. Like there's always like this cycle, and if it's a slow news day, then they'll probably start taking stories. And if not, then we just keep going. But so that's pretty much how we score you a shitload of interviews. And then as far as the actual traffic and getting people, we work on a local celebrity strategy, localized media. You know, you and I are going to talk about the Nextdoor app, and I'm going to show you how to implement social media, a few other things. But essentially, this is how I turn somebody from an expert into a highly visible industry leader. And like I said, the fact that you have an amazing life story, you've done these incredible experiences, makes my job so much fucking easier. So
I'm okay.
Very, very grateful. You know, we're just starting this journey. It's going to be about 2 months. And like I said, one deliverable a week. It's going to be awesome. But I really appreciate you coming on here, tell my story. You're literally the second person I've ever interviewed using this format. Ted Fox was my first, and he got a lot of views, man. He was Ted Fox, also Texas. Just a great guy, great Marine, and he fixes classic cars. You're gonna go see him. What kind of car do you have, Tony?
I have a 1968 Mustang Fastback.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah.
Have fun with that,
Dude. Ted's article is out of control now. It got the highest numbers I've ever had for an article I wrote, and he's still getting calls to the garage, and I'm talking from all over the fucking country. It's great. So we'll get you going there. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to, or anyone or anything notable you want to share with anybody watching this?
I already shared about the documentary Ranger. I think that's a big one.
Yeah.
Say my book, Leave No Man Behind, actually went to paperback a few weeks ago. Pick up a copy. It's freaking awesome. I wrote it, so I know it's awesome. Most people like it. Let's be fair. Most people like it.
Yeah, I'm sure it's action packed and full of fun. All right, Tony, I'll let you get back to what you're doing. I'm sorry,
Yep.
Dr. Brooks. Thank you so much for your time, and we'll be in touch in the next couple of days. And thank you for everybody watching this. It's just such an honor to do what I do and be able to serve veterans and to help them out in their endeavors, especially veterans with a story like yours. And it just blows my mind that, you know, the journey,
Yeah.
how far we've come from our young lives to where we are now. So, all right, that should do it. Thank you very much, Tony, and have a good night. I'll talk to you soon, buddy.
Yeah, you have a good one. Appreciate it.
All right, see ya. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Dr. Tony Brooks with an incredible story about being on the Ranger team that went in to go get Marcus Luttrell from Lone Survivor. I'm just stunned at the stories that this man has and the service that he's done. It's incredible to be able to interview him and share the story with you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it as much as I did. You'll be seeing a lot more of him in the future as we get his press releases done, his magazine articles, all that good stuff, and make him highly public. That's about all I have for tonight. So thank you so much. And if you need a great cup of coffee, check out Master Blaster Coffee at masterblastercoffee.us. Get yourself a bag and blast into success. That's all I got for tonight. This is Rob the Warrior Strategist. And as always, stay famous.